Hold on. Wait for it. Wait for it. Don't care about the copyright. I'm not going to be making money from YouTube. We are back. I have a video that I need to get uploaded from yesterday's trade that I took a fucking loss, and this is a trade recap for today, which is October 1st. Welcome to quarter four. Let's get that brightness turned up. Everything's looking good. All right. So let's get into it. Let's get into it. Pull this back down. Beautiful. Dun, dun, dun. Hold on, I'm trying to get this figured out. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, I'm gonna have to close that out. Hold on. We got some stuff to work on. We can go to a new window. Move that over here. All that music just to fucking waste time. I got shit to do. Why is it not working? That's interesting. Well, let's try something else. Oh my gosh, this is so stupid. That Maui, Wowie. There we go. Alright, fuck, that's 3 minutes into this already. Okay. This is the setup I took. It is currently running all the way up to all-time highs. No doubt in my mind that this thing does not run for a 1 to 5. It's currently at a 1 to 4. I got out at a 1, basically a 1 to 3. Basically a 1 to 3. Here is proof. And we fixed the contract issue. I made a video about this yesterday that I have to get uploaded, but that was last month. And then going into, that was yesterday's trade that I made a recap on. And then going into the day, this is today's. And just going over exactly what I saw. So we're going to go right into trading view. We're going to go to NASDAQ. CN Super Charts. It's going to be a little messy, but it's okay. So let's get this off. Let's go full screen. Beautiful. Get rid of this. Coming into the day, let's get the market replay on actually. Continue like be safe your last replay in the chart. We're going to the 30-minute. We're gonna come right at 8. So coming into the day, government shut down, right? But corporations have not. So that doesn't mean the market's inherently going to be bad. It's just being patient. Patience is a virtue. Coming into today, what do we have on the high time frames on NASDAQ? We have a 4-hour that we were waiting to see if it wanted to inverse or respect. And if it respected it, I assume we wanted to go sell side. And we had a 1-hour resting above up here that already was filled. And then we had a 1-hour right here that we were wanting to see get tapped into, right? But we had to worry about this 4-hour. And then on ES, what do we have? We were in on this 4-hour as well, and then we had that 1-hour. So we could have had a bullish and bearish bias right off the bat, but this is why we don't marry the bias. We want to just observe what market's going to give us. So coming into the market, we had news today at 9, Forex. We can go to today. We had PMI at 9 o'clock today, and it came out actually greater than forecast. It came out bullish. So I was really just waiting for the news release. But we can mark up, what do we have up resting above? We had buy side liquidity. We can go to the 5 minute. Let this thing play out. Boom. What does market do? It swept out the buy side liquidity that we had resting right above here, which if I clicked on that, it's resting right between here. You can see it. It's right at these highs, which I believe were not Asian session highs, but they were 1 hour highs. And I was waiting on the 15 minute because I wanted to have some patience today, but the 15 minute was being a little choppy, so we went to the 5 minute. So what do we see right off the bat? We get we get a 1 hour sweep. Doesn't mean we get in on anything. And then boom, what do we see right after that? We ended up pushing right down. We got a rejection, and that was at 8:45. So that does not mean we get in. But what do we see is NASDAQ made a lower low where ES made a lower high, which if you guys want to look at that, like I said, NASDAQ's went right down there. ES's went right from there. We can now go like this. And now with the SMT, one thing I wanted to focus on was, where's our breaker structure? Once we got the SMT, our breaker structure isn't all the way up here. That, once we get that, would be a fucking low-key shit risk to reward, and I would not have liked that. Stops all the way down to here. Like, I'm good, bro. Just target up to there for a one, not even a 1-to-1. I'm good on that. So, but we did get the 5-minute SMT, which is giving us bullish confirmation, like, hey, we're getting bullish structure. Well, that kind of got the bearish mindset out of my mind, but we had this 5-minute bearish for value gap, which we could have gone into, respected, but you can see like it is right here. I want to see it get inversed, right? What do we see? We're going to move this down to 1 second. We see it get inversed, right? So that's confirming my bullish structure. That's confirming bullish order flow. Now, that doesn't mean I enter in off of that inverse, but it would be nice to see if we ended up getting that breaker structure, which is up to which was at that point. And for us to get that breaker structure, it would even confirm the SMT, which could make me even more bullish. So after we got the inverse, I was like, okay, we're getting bullish order flow. I would like to see a retracement and a breaker structure. Well, we had no 5-minute fair value gap to retrace into. So where are we looking at after that? We have a 2-minute gap. 2-minute gap right there, right? And we have a 1-minute breaker structure right here, up candle, down candle. We come into this 2-minute. Where do these candles go? It does not close below the 2-minute. So we're looking for the breaker structure out of it. We go to the 1-minute. We're waiting for that breaker structure, which then we can play this out. Hold on. Let this go, give us the break. Doesn't give it right there, it was close. We get the breaker structure right there, right? So then I entered in, let's put this back a little more now. I entered in on minis right at this point. I put my stops down at the low. And now what we're wanting to see was a breaker structure, right? Which we get, which confirmed bullish order flow. We confirmed that 5-minute SMT. So then I entered in. I did on, I believe it was 2 contracts. Stop loss went down to here. This was exactly it. Confirm. And this was the trade I took. Now, what I talked about in my video yesterday was, and I got to get that uploaded, it was, I am to the point where I'm a break-even trader, right? And that when it comes to a break-even trader, all I need to do is make 1 to 3% little changes in my strategy, psychology, or risk management. And a big portion of my problem was risk management. And I wasn't over leveraging, but I was taking on my contracts at stupid positions. Like I would risk $1,000 and hit a 1 to 4 and only be up $1,300. That's a negative RR. That isn't good, right? So today, coming into it, once I entered in on that trade, we can put my take profit point all the way up to there, which is what it was, basically. I went to the 5-minute, and I'm looking at, well, what do we see to the left of us? We have a 5-minute high right here. Normally, I would be like, oh, we could reverse off of this point. What I've understood from my buddy was, you don't just take, he's like, if you have extreme conviction in your trades, and if you don't, why would you take them? But for our strategy, if you have extreme conviction in them, then this 5-minute high, you wouldn't take profit out because you were thinking, okay, it's probably want to go for this 5-minute high, which is resting right between here, right? We can zoom in, up candle, down candle, right? He could have looked at that 5-minute high for 1 to 1.41. That could maybe be your first partial point. My first partial point was at this, which is almost a 1 to 2, which is this 5-minute high, and it's coming in right between this 5-minute imbalance. which could have been which should have been the first take profit, was just coming into this 5-minute imbalance at a 1 to 2, risking $1,000. That would have been $2,000, taking out profit and letting the rest ride. And you'll see what happened. Obviously the second take profit was up to here, but we let this thing play out. First take profit gets hit, edges it, literally kisses my second take profit to then go and take it out. And then we'll just wait for it to go back up. Takes it out. Beautiful. That was the setup. So, like I said, coming into the day, we get it. Coming into the day, like I said, we had that buy side liquidity sweep. We got the pullback, and NASDAQ swept out these 5-minute lows. ES made the higher high. So ES was the lead player, but I ended up taking this play on NASDAQ because I like the retracement, right? And I just like taking trades on NASDAQ usually more. I mean, ES is, see where this fucking puppy's playing out. I mean, ridiculous. Once you get that 5-minute inverse, ridiculous, right? And ES's 5-minute inverse was also a lot higher up when NASDAQ's was already inversed. And NASDAQ inversing it and getting the retracement and showing respecting was telling me, like, hey, ES is probably going to invert its 5-minute gap, even though it didn't yet. And look what it did. It inversed it. So that was the reasoning for me taking the trade on NASDAQ. But yeah, that SMT doesn't mean just because the SMT was formed, we want to see a breaker structure. And that breaker structure was so high up, it's like, ooh, that confirms the SMT, but that's going to be a shit risk reward if we wait for that. So I wanted to, but then perfectly we had this 5-minute gap, which would confirm bullish order flow, confirming like, hey, we'll probably want to go higher. And we did after we inversed it. But I was like, I want to see a retracement back because in order for me to get into trades, I need to see a retracement, right? I need to see that retracement. We get the retracement on 2-minute, we get the 1-minute breaker structure. I was able to put my stops at a structured stop loss. So if it came back past this point, it's most likely going to invalidate the setup. It does invalidate the setup, and we targeted highs. And this puppy ran. So like I said, you can see it ran for a pretty good trade. Pretty damn close to passing the account. Going into the Express account, I'm going to risk $150, and this is my goal. Obviously, the risk reward changes. It depends on the day. It depends on the trade, right? But for me personally, I want to be the type of trader where I'm taking 1 to 2 risk rewards, and that's my partial point. Not 1-to-1s, but at 1-to-2s. So if I'm risking $150 and my 1-to-2 gets hit, that's over $300. Take the partial out and let it ride for either 1-to-3, 1-to-4, or 1-to-5. But I want it to be like, obviously, so let's say we're entering in on a trade. And like I said, we had that 5-minute high right here, or a 15-minute high right here. But we'll actually go to the 5-minute. We had the 5-minute high right here, but that's at a 1-to-1. It's like, okay, well, I'd rather this trade just be a loss than just taking my partials out at a 1-to-1, right? Where we have a high right here, I'd like to see it taken out at a 1-to-2, like just targeting those points, and that's a 1-to-2. Or maybe this was a 1-to-3, and that's my first partial. Beautiful. I love it. And then I let it ride. And that's just going into the day and in the future. But for me, I plan on going into this 100K Express account, risking $150 until I have a $1,000 buffer. And then I'll up it to $200. And at that point, I could take my payout. And I could either take a $1,000, $2,000 payout and then get more accounts. I'd probably just copy trade 3 accounts and run it as that. But, just playing it how it is, being smart with it and not being a dumbass. But I want to be smart because now it's like, obviously I know losses are a part of the game. Trading in the zone, Mark Douglas states how you have to be comfortable with taking losses. And what would make me more comfortable taking losses when I start an Express account is not over leveraging and just starting off a small risk and building that buffer, and also just making sure I have a good win rate and a good risk to reward while trading an Express account, right? So that's my main focus. I can't think too big into it or get too stressed out about it, because then I would allow psychology to get into it. But if I'm risking $150, it'd almost be physically impossible for me to blow this account. And the only way I would blow the account is if it was a discipline issue. So forcing trades, being greedy, cutting wins early, like, just not a good idea. So like going into this Express account is taking A+ quality fucking setups with clear conviction. If I don't have clear conviction in the setup, I'm not getting in. That's fine. I don't need to trade for the day. I have other sources of income. But taking A+ clear quality setups with clear conviction, and always looking to take partials out at the 1-to-2 or 1-to-3, not at 1-to-1s. And just doing that over and over and over, where it becomes my system, where it becomes my program, where I'm basically robotic with it, where I'm just observing the market and waiting for that to happen, and then boom, it happens. That's my edge. Execute on it and execute flawlessly. And obviously, I'm a little worried. I definitely feel the pressure right now, but that's okay. I'm doing something that's hard. I'm doing something that's uncomfortable, and you're going to have that. You're going to feel that way. But I'm not worried about it really at all. Let's just run on what this trade would run for right now. This was at what, 905, 906. We got the break of structure on the 1 minute, which is right there. Let's just run this up and see what this baby is running for. At the Honolulu, the Maui Wowie, the Maui Wowie. And we targeted all the way up to 1 hour highs, which is up to here. Beautiful. On top of that play too, coming into it, we had a 15-minute imbalance, which I will mark out right now, and I wanted to see it inverse it. And as soon as we inverse that 15-minute, I knew that, hey, we're not inversing this 15-minute just to come up to this high, which is my partial point. We're inversing it to come all the way up to there. And that's exactly what we did. And now this thing is still running, like I said, for that 1 to 4 currently. But I'm just going to take a picture of this real quick so I can put it into my trade journal. I'm going to mark out the SMT. Mark out the buy side liquidity, which is resting right up here. We can mark out buy side liquidity. And that'd be my take profit point, first take profit point. 1 to 3. Take a picture of that. Download image. Beautiful. This was the setup coming into the day. And we had that 15-minute gap that was resting right between here. Like I said, once we inversed that, I knew we were fucking going higher. We ended up having that 5-minute SMT. And like I said, we ended up getting the 1 minute break of structure, which I will actually mark out. That Maui Wowie, that Maui. That's the break of structure point. Mark this out, take a picture of this. Copy image, download image. So yeah, that's really the setup going into the day. That was my bias. My buddy did kind of signal bot for me on the SMT. Otherwise, I don't know if I would have noticed that right away, but probably, I have both pairs popped up on my chart, but that doesn't mean I would have entered right away off of that. It was my mindset. It was my idea to wait for that 5-minute to inverse and then wait for a retracement. And we didn't have a 5-minute to retrace into. So I was like, well, what about the 2-minute? And we ended up getting the 2-minute retracement. I was like, okay. And we have a break of structure. We have a high waiting to get broken on, which was right there, up candle, down candle. And what do? We get the break of structure, meaning I'm in. And that's how this puppy played. And it was absolutely beautiful. Actually, break of structure would have been right here. I'm being goofy. Let's get rid of this. I'm going to take another picture now, damn it. That Maui Wowie. Break of structure. Beautiful. Let me take a picture of that. Beautiful. That was the setup. And like I said, going into the Express account, I'm going to be smart. I'm going to be disciplined. I'm going to be patient and not chase money because I know money will come over time. I don't have to get a payout this year. All I give a fuck about is just being smart with my strategy. Waiting for the liquidity. Don't take trades if there's no liquidity getting swept. Don't trade shitty market conditions. Don't take a trade unless we have a beautiful SMT and a great break of structure with it and aligns with my bias. And don't take a fucking trade unless there's a retracement and then bullish or bearish confirmation out of the retracement, right? That's basically the rule. And at that point, then it's just being smart with the contracts. Going in, risking a decent amount. And you're fucking set. Like, that's as simple as it's going to fucking get for me. It's as simple as it's going to get. And targeting those 1 to 2s, like I said, because that was my issue, is if I'm going to target a 1 to 1, just take out Foley out of my position, right? Just take out Foley out of that position. But with my strategy, I'm looking to take bigger trades with a 1 to 2, a 1 to 3. So target the 1 to 2s, target the 1 to 3s for the partials, and only do that. Don't be. That's the hard part about it, is I can't be stupid with it and just be like, oh, this would be a 1 to 2 at this 1 hour high, and it's like, but yeah, but it's price going to get to that point. It's like you have to have real conviction in your setup on why we would be going to this point. Like today, I had to have real conviction on why we would be bullish on the day, and like I said, coming into it, once with this 1 hour close and we inversed it, it was like, oh yeah, we're bullish as fuck, and we're going all the way to all-time highs, heading up to that point, right? And I mean, if that thing runs all the way to all-time highs, it's a 1 to 6, right? That's just something to know. Just being smart, not being a fucking dumbass. And obviously, oh, I have an alarm going off. Hold on. I gotta do some bullshit to turn this alarm off. It's just being smart, not getting in my head, and just having clarity and real conviction in my setups. And today, definitely the clarity felt a little bit off. But once we ended up getting that bullish confirmation on the 5 minute inverse and that 1 minute and that 2 minute retrace and the 1 minute break, I was like, okay, if we're getting that at that point, I know we're going to end up getting the final break of structure to validate this SMT. Therefore, telling me like, yeah, this setup's bullish, and I think we go higher for the day, right? And I mean, that's what we did. So I definitely feel the pressure, but like I said, trading's a psychology game, and I have to be smart with it. Can't force no setups, and I fucking won't force setups. And if I do, I'm gonna punish myself in some way, somehow. I don't know. Maybe fucking fast the whole day, and I don't want to fast the whole day. I want to get my protein going. Maybe do shit I don't want to fucking do, right? But that's really the whole mindset going into this, and especially when I do hit trades like this, not rewarding myself with bad habits, and that's another important part. Like treating my wins the same as I treat my losses, learn from them, move on and forget about it, move into the next day. Another part is I can't get so focused on what I'm going to do on the Express account right now, and just I need to focus on the next day, right? Focus on observing the market the next day, and that's all that fucking matters. Day by day, step by step. It's a journey. It's a long fucking journey. It's a process, and it's just appreciating where I'm at right now, appreciating every single day in the market, and finding joy in it. Because at the end of the day, I got to make predicting the market my goal, and observing it. And I need to make following my rules and my strategy and my discipline and being disciplined. That's the goal, and money will follow that over time. And that's especially going into the Express account, risking $150. I'm not going to have a huge winning days, right? I'm not going to have ridiculous. Maybe I had a 1 to 10, right? It's not going to be huge winning days, but I know that in a span of not blowing that, if I don't blow that account and I hold it for 3-4 months, right? At that point, probably just take a buffer. I'll probably take my payouts on it, but I will get the confidence to then increase my risk next time, where I can still go into the next account with 3 accounts and risk $300, and that's still not over leveraging. That's still somewhat de-risking and just risking $300, and then that's when I can have those bigger days, and doing that for a prolonged period of time until I get comfortable and confident with risking $500 on setups. It depends on my win rate and my risk reward and what I'm targeting, but I say for now, the one thing I need to get better at in understanding my trading plan and my strategy is my contracts, and when to get in and when to get out of trades. Really, I know when to get out of losses, and that's when my fucking stop loss gets hit. But when it comes to getting out of wins, it's like, yeah, targeting 5 to 15 minute highs for sure. But it's like, why are we targeting? Why are we getting out at that point? Is that a smart point to get out at? Because I would tell myself, it's like, well, I need to see price. That's a point where price could reverse. Yes, but it's like, if you have clear conviction in this trade, even though it's a 5 minute high and price could reverse off of it, you want to see it go higher, right? You want to see that, and it's not like foaming yourself into it and wanting to hold it, being greedy, but it's just being smart. And that takes time, that takes clarity, and that takes conviction in your setup. And then, like I said, I'm a lot better than when I was a year ago. I haven't even been trading for a full year now. I haven't even understood the strategy for a whole fucking 3 months, 4 months now. Like, I just started actually understanding the strategy like 3.5 months ago, 4 months ago. So it's a process. And I know that at the end of the year, I can't put a time limit on it, but at the end of the year, it's bankroll. It's fucking bankroll. And that's just the way this game is. It's just being smart and being patient. Patience is a virtue. And understanding that it's a long journey. And Need to just take it day by day and not focus on the end result of the month. Like going into once I'm on the Express account, the goal isn't, oh, I need $1,000 this month on the account. No, it's just find 3, 4, 5 quality setups a month. Really, just find 2 to 3, 1 to 3, 1 to 4 quality setups in the month, and I'm good. Payout coming my fucking way, damn near. And not only that, we have a good buffer, and I can increase the risk to get a better payout. And, 5K max payout, get 2 more accounts, act like fucking full port to evals, and go right into the Express account and risk that $200 instead of the 150, and then just find 2 to 3 quality setups a month and targeting those 1 to 2, 1 to 3s for my partial points. Because I am pissed at myself that I got in the habit of targeting these 1 to 1s and taking partials out at 1 to 1s. I'm not gonna fucking do that anymore. I just either enter or exit fully out of the position at a 1 to 1, right? Or take out at 1 to 2s, 1 to 3s, or 1 to 4s. Like, I mean, today I could have taken out at, we had highs up around here. I could have taken out at my first take profit would have been a 1 to 3. That would have been 3 bands and letting it run now. And that'd be 4 or 5 bands, right? Or if I'm risking $200, that'd have been like $600 right on that and letting it run, right? That's how I need to play this game. And that's just me having to get smarter with that. So I'm going to definitely, I have work today, but I'm going to be watching videos on that. I'm going to go back to TJR's bootcamp and just try to engrave that into my mind and becoming more confident and having conviction in my trades. Now, the issue is to know is once we're at this is my issue, is once I started getting good at understanding the strategy, we were at all-time highs. And at all-time highs, you're really just targeting 5 to 15 minute highs and 5 to 15 minute imbalances. So like your 1 to 1s, 1 to 2s. But I want to get to the point where going into that account, I'm targeting those 1 to 2. So it'll be different if we are at all-time highs, because it's like you're not going to be, there's not a lot of previous price action to look at. Once we get to this point, there's no price action to the left except like small price action where we get retracements, and then we get we can target the 5, 15 minute highs, right? Or 30-minute highs. So we're definitely going to see. It's like I said, I'm not worried that I'm going to blow this account. I don't give a fuck if I'm going to blow the account, because I know I'm just going to buy another one, and that's a part of the game. I want to make sure that I'm following my rules and I'm not being a dumbass with my trading. Like, I'd be fine blowing an account if it was due to, just probability. But if it was me being a dumbass with my contracts, or me being a dumbass with like greed and FOMOing into trades or cutting wins early, it's just, I'm good on that, right? And that's how this thing's going to go. Like today, I'm happy because that first take profit was basically a 1 to 2 that I took out at, and I was happy with that. That was a $1,700 take profit, and I let the rest ride for another $1,400. So going into tomorrow, let's say I take a setup tomorrow, and the first take profit point, I'm risking $500. The first take profit points I hear for like a 1 to 2, basically, bam, boom, I can get out. But let's say we're on the Express account. Let's say I'm risking $150. First take profit point, it's say we could target this 1 to 2, basically. But I would rather target into this 5-minute imbalance, because it's like if it's going to come up to here, it's probably going to want to fill in the imbalance right there, right? And that's my 1 to 2. Take partials out at that, and then put the stops at break even, and let that fucker ride all the way up to wherever it could possibly go to. And imagine that $150 could turn into a $500, $600 a day, just like that, rather than me just taking partials out at the 1 to 1 and taking too much out at the 1 to 1, or the $150 turns into like a $250 day with risking on like a 1 to 4, 1 to 5, where it could have been a $600, $700 day, right? It's just being smart. And you best fucking believe that I'm going to be fucking smart, because I won't fucking feel good if, that's what I'm saying too, is with my risk going into it with $150, right? The only way I blow this account, the only way I blow that account is if I'm taking stupid trades, not following my trading plan, so that not following my trading plan, not following my edge, and having a shit psychology. So the goal now is just, like I said, at the end of the day, observing the markets. If I don't understand the setup, don't take it, and just wait for the next day, because maybe the next day gives me a setup that I understand, and it's an even better setup, let's just say, right? It's just being patient and not forcing anything. And the good part is I have a job, so I don't need the trading money. I can wait for my quality setups, because all it takes is, like I said, all you needed for me is 2 setups of 1 to 5s a month. and I could have a $1,000 a month on that, and that's the buffer, and then I can increase it, and then another two setups of $200 risks, and I could have another $1,000 a month, and then that's at like, okay, you have 4 wins, and you're up 2 bands on the account, damn near, and you don't take a payout until you have 5 consecutive days of $150, and I'd be well damn close to that. So then by the time I could take a payout, I could take a 2 to 3 grand payout is the goal, right? So just being smart and not being a fucking dumbass. And this shit's coming. It's fucking going to come. Pause. But yeah, I mean, I'm hoping I explained this pretty well. Like I said, we came in, market open. Let's just mark out the market open while we're waiting here. That Maui Wowie, that Maui Wowie. Market opened right there. What do we come up and do? We sweep out buy side liquidity that was resting right above here. We go to the 1 hour and wait to mark that up. We swept out that 1 hour liquidity, and what do we see? We ended up getting a pullback. After this liquidity got swept, which I will mark out right now as buy side liquidity. Once that buy side liquidity got swept, that was right here. What does it do? Boom. It comes down, makes its retracement. We end up sweeping out lows. Nasdaq made a lower low. ES made a lower high, which is right around here. And then we got a 5-minute inverse, which is right there, 5-minute inverse. Probably just mark this up as 5. We get the 5-minute inverse. We get the 2-minute retrace. We get a 5-minute inverse, 2-minute retrace. So we get the 5-minute SMT, 5-minute inverse, 2-minute retrace, 1-minute break of structure. Which then, like I said, was the target. 1-minute break of structure, we enter in, stops at the freaking most recent low. And the SMT break of structure was right around here. And that's how you fucking play it out. I mean, beautiful, fucking absolute beautiful day. And like I said, I went into that. I have to actually take a picture of this too. Hold on. Let me get rid of this. The Maui. Beautiful. I like how that looks. Alright. Go into this. Ready to take this picture. Beautiful. That's it. That was the setup for today. That's the mindset going into it the rest of the week. And we're going to play it like that. We're going to be smart. We're going to be disciplined. Or just... The only job for me now is to just stay disciplined with my emotions and predict price. Observe. Not even predict price, because there's days where you won't. Just be disciplined with my emotions. Follow my trading plan and execute accordingly. And that's it. It is Wednesday, October 1st. Welcome to quarter 4, motherfuckers. Have a wonderful day.